Good morning, everybody. Good morning to Unity of Gaithersburg. We are just so happy to see everybody here, all these wonderful faces. And hi, everybody on TV land. Mwah. Welcome into our sacred cyberspace. We are so glad you have joined us here. I'm Edie Crane, and I have many hats here, but today I'm your platform person, and it is my joy to greet you. So I invite you, we're going to settle in and we're going to anchor the energy here with just send some love. Beam some love around the room. Just catch people's eye. Maybe give a little wave. If you're in cyberspace, you know what to do. You just put that little love things in the chat. You know, connect with each other. Just say hi. Because we are a very huggy church, and we're also very mindful of our COVID protocols, and so we know there is no separation, so we can just sprinkle love wherever we go. So welcome once again. If you are new, any newbies or visitors brave enough to raise a hand? Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. And anybody who's new, check in with your friends on the chat. Our ushers and greeters have a little welcome packet for you with some general information about what we do here and our events and things. And those of you who are joining us from cyberspace, you can just shoot us a quick email if you'd like more information, but also check out our website, unityofgaithersburg.org. We've got a lot of really good information on there. And so today, our wonderful staff, we have Mark on our sound, we have Kevin and Jim on of slides and video. And of course, we have the full band today. We have the 4 J's, Jeff, John Paul, and Jim. Yes, we are so pleased. And somewhere floating around is our facilities manager, Michael. He's doing his thing, so he's out there. But he's the one who makes the coffee for you and gets everything all set up, and so we're so delighted. And we are especially happy to announce our 2 chaplains for the day. If you would stand, our 2 chaplains, we have Errol and Cynthia. Errol's in the back, double duting as greeter. And so they are available. If you would like some one-on-one prayer after service, please seek them out. If you have a joy to share or just something you want to get off your chest, feel free to go over to the chaplain corner, and they would love to pray with you. And so every week we are highlighting one of our wonderful, wonderful core values, and this month we are focusing on our diversity core value. This is our theme this month, and so we embrace and model diversity, inclusivity, and equity with a commitment to practicing anti-racism, promoting social justice, and acknowledging and affirming the humanity and dignity of all individuals. Just kind of breathe that in. That's one of our wonderful core values. This is what we are about here at Unity of Gaithersburg. And so I'm now going to turn you over to Steve for our spiritual nugget, and then we'll have some more music.
Well, good morning, everyone. Are we happy and sassy and alive and alert and enthusiastic this morning? Why not? There's always choices, right? At this point, we want to have a sort of a teachable moment. You know, Unity has so many teachings of our own and of universal spiritual truths that we embrace and we acknowledge everywhere. And one spiritual nugget today that we're going to talk about is that Unity of Gaithersburg offers you a direct and intense experience of the sacred, personally and in a loving spiritual community. And so that's a mouthful in some ways. That sentence sort of suggests that, do we believe in a sacred moment? Now, this is not traditional religiosity necessarily. A sacredness is what is sacred to you. What is your heart saying that it rings and is alive with energy when all is going well and even when it's not? What is sacred for you? And you all remember and have had experiences of, we all do, of intense and incredible times. And we offer you a way of taking a look at what is the sacredness in whatever is happening with you in your life and what's going on elsewhere. So it's about doing it personally. Everyone is on a spiritual path having a human experience. And we also say that Unity of Gaithersburg and Unity ministries everywhere, in fact, all people everywhere are communities of, at their core, being love, and that would be you. So welcome. Glad you're here. And we have a band playing the song. You know what we need at this time in our life? Love. All we need is love.
Nothing you can do that can't be done. Nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can say, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. Nothing you can make that can't be made. No one you can save that can't be saved. Nothing you can do, but you can learn how to be you in time. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love, love. Love is all you need. Love, love. is all you need. It's nothing you can know that isn't known. Nothing you can see that isn't shown. Nowhere you can be that isn't where you were meant to be. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. All you need is love.
All together now.
All you need is love.
Everybody.
All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. 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 Love is all you need.
She loves you.
Love is all you need. Love is all you need.
She loves
Love is
you.
all you need. Love is 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 all you
Thank you, thank you. Wow, aren't they wonderful? We just have such fun with this uplifting music. It just opens our hearts and wants to get us moving. Well, me anyway, you know. You know how that is. So our time for our transformational opportunities, of which we have many this week. First of all, we have the Board of Trustees. We have a couple openings now for our annual Board of Trustees nominations. So if you are interested, if you think you might be interested in finding out more about what it means to be on the Board of Trustees, we're having an informational meeting on Tuesday on Zoom at 7 p.m. The Zoom link is in the newsletter. If for some reason you can't find it, you can send me an email at the admin email, and I will zap it to you. So if you think you might be interested in stepping up in this community in this way, please come to this meeting because you'll get all your questions answered. And the applications to become a board member are also available. So if you would like to get that process going, you can send an email to the admin address. And then we have our class is ongoing. We just started our spiritual practice of anti-racism class. We're taking a deep dive into this. How does the concept of anti-racism, how does it work with our spiritual practice? How is it a spiritual practice? How do we use it to deepen our knowing and deepen our connection? And so I invite you to come out. You can come any of the times. And the Zoom link is on Zoom. The Zoom link is on the newsletter. And Kathy and Steve and I are your co-facilitators for it, and it's been great. So I hope that you will consider joining this class. Finally, we also have our Youth and Family Ministry Supply Drive. We have this amazing group called the Caring Cottage Team, and they have been putting on different fundraisers. And this fall, they're focusing on our home here. They're focusing on supplies for our youth program. So there's a list in the newsletter. There's a link with a wish list. You can go in there and check it out. And we're also looking for volunteers, of course. If you are able to volunteer some time, check out with Beth at YFM2 at unityofgaithersburg.org, because she would love to have your energy and your time. So thanks for that. And then we have a membership class. If you've been thinking about it, you've been thinking about taking that plunge. Okay, well, this is the time, because the membership class is for those who really want to deepen their connection to the community and take their commitment to the community a step further by becoming a voting member. And so we have an annual meeting coming up in November, and so this is in preparation for that. If you're ready to take your membership to another level, please consider taking this membership class. You can also take it if you're just interested. You know, you don't have to commit. You can just take the class if you're interested in finding out more about this community. I highly recommend it. So it's, again, the Zoom link for that will be in the newsletter, and that is Thursday and Friday, October 7th and 8th with Rev Steve. We also have our celebration garden. You know that little scraggly place out there that used to be a pond, and then it became a little garden, and it got all kind of overgrown. Well, we took the plunge, and this is a project that's been on the back burner, and it has been pushed forward. This is a celebration garden, and we had a landscape team out here Tuesday sprucing it all up. And so the idea is that anybody who has a joy to share, someone they want to remember and celebrate, they would buy a rock, one of these stones like that, and you would just engrave their name on it, or engrave a word of something that you want to sort of anchor in that garden. And so what I'm looking for are people who would like to join me in decorating it a little bit. The next phase will be some flagstones, and that's going to happen with the landscaper next month. But just in terms of maybe adding some decorative touches, I would love to have some people who are interested in that. Just send me an email and say, hey, yeah, put me on the team, and we'll get together and make a plan. So thank you for that. And ongoing events. We have a couple updates in our ongoing events. Our midweek meditation with our buddy Peter here is Wednesdays. It's usually at 6:30, but because we have the Zoom class at 7, the meditation's going to start at 6 on Wednesdays in our new renovated great little bookstore place with the chairs and the couches and everything. So the meditation will be in there. Thank you, Peter, for getting that going. We're excited for this. That's during the inaugural meeting in our little bookstore place. So until the end of the anti-racism class, midweek meditation will be at 6, and then it will resume to its usual 6:30 spot. So please check out the meditation. It's a great way to anchor your week. And then the writers group usually would have met today, but they are not. They're going to be meeting on Wednesday, September 29th at 7. And the Zoom link, if you need the Zoom link, you can email me, and I'll zap that to you. Okay? All right, let's settle in. Let's settle in for some prayers now. Let's take a deep breath, and we're gonna read together the prayer for our transition process. We're now in this phase 3. We got the search team going. And so let's anchor this energy. Together, we hold a vision of a smooth, grace-filled, and peaceful ministry transition process, embracing our differences as we expand our consciousness of oneness and love. We trust the process of divine order, and so it is. And now it's time to settle in for our daily word. And today, our phrase is, let go and let God. Let's breathe into that. Let go and let God. Divine love, wisdom, and understanding express through me. Just feel that. If I feel unsure of the next steps in any situation, I let go and let God. I don't walk away from difficulty or try to force resolutions. Instead, I release my tight mental grip on problems and open myself to solutions. I let go of my ego's desire for control and my need to bring about specific outcomes. I believe there are solutions and remedies beyond what my mind can conceive. I yield to possibility. I trust the indwelling divine presence, just as I would trust a mentor. Letting go and letting God means creating space for the dynamic, creative energy of spirit to inspire and surprise me. Divine love, wisdom, and understanding fuel my thoughts express through my words, and guide me in all ways. And from Psalm 86, teach me your way, O Lord, that I may walk in your truth. Give me an undivided heart to revere your name. And now let's prepare for meditation by singing All Is Well.
And all is well. All is well within our soul because we pay attention. We pay attention to the love that is our very nature. We pay attention to the love that is present everywhere, to the calls for love. There's a place within us where we know. At this time in our lives and on this planet, all of us are called to take another look at what we believe. Be willing to imagine what before had been not possible. To use the power of imagination to tune into awareness of what is coming up in our mind and looking at it with the Spirit of the God, the Spirit of the Christ, the Holy Spirit, with your heart, with the lens of love. And so as we remember that, oh, well, perhaps I do have a spiritual gift of imagination and of transformation in my life and on the planet with this spiritual gift. My question to myself this morning might be, and it might be yours, is am I willing to be radically honest with myself and with the Christ Spirit, the Holy Spirit within me, my heart? Am I willing to be radically honest with myself about what's going on, what's arising in my mind? Perhaps right now. Perhaps thoughts about the past, which is already gone and not real at this moment. The future is not here. So right here and right now. Am I willing to have a firm commitment to healing what is not like love? Whether it's in myself or I'm not aware of it, my awareness. For the Holy Spirit within us as our guide with us, walks with us, is always willing and present. Sometimes we've made an incredible distance or created one or shifted our belief from knowing and oneness. And now as we return to awareness of love's presence, nothing is impossible. So as we take a look at this morning of how do we heal, what is ours to heal at this time in our life? And for these few weeks here at Unity of Gaithersburg, we are exploring the healing practice of anti-racism. Are we willing to be radically committed to love, to another way of experiencing, to listening and being willing to listen to the Spirit that is present always within us, always knows, always calling us, nudging us sometimes strongly to choose again, to look again, to be thankful for where we are, what we have done, and what is happening right now in our life. And as we move into the silence now, yes, our heart knows there's only love. Love is all there is. And therefore we know. Help our unwillingness to know. In the silence. In the silence. With a gentle breath, we turn our awareness to the space wherever we may physically be at this time. And with another breath, we may call it a cleansing breath, we may call it a willingness breath, we may call it the peace of spirit, the peace of God. As we open our eyes and pay attention to what we see, to what we are feeling, we realize that there is a place within us that knows of our holiness. There's a place within us that knows of the holiness of all beings. And so therefore we say, yes, I am willing. And so it is, and so it shall be. Amen.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today.
Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too.
Imagine all the people living life in peace.
You may say I'm a dreamer,
but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us,
and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man.
imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
That was beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, perhaps we do see ourselves as a dreamer. I mean, do you see yourself as a dreamer that is dreaming of? Is it possible that we're having a journey that sometimes is giving us all kinds of excitement and insights and possibilities for us? And sometimes our journey makes us uncomfortable, and we blame it on the journey. If you're like me, sometimes I'm having a very good day, and then I turn on the TV, the radio, the newspaper. Or then I see someone, yeah, that one, you know. And it's like, well, my journey was going fine until. And so what's important for us to be paying attention to now, I believe, and you've probably gotten this message of people are still coming to Unity of Gaithersburg, even though we've dived deeply in the last several months into a topic that most people would say they don't want to go there. Why should we look at something that makes me uncomfortable? Well, you've heard me say before, and a lot of ministers say this. I finally learned that I'm not here when I go to a community like I'm doing now as an interim to make people comfortable. I'm here to comfort those that are disturbed and to disturb those of us that are very, very comfortable at times. Now, you may think that's pretty bizarre, Steve. You're wanting to stir trouble, things up, and then you're going to leave? Well, that's true. We've got a month to go. But what I want to do is acknowledge this community. and I've said this before, I'm going to ask Kathy to come up in a moment, but we are working on trying to live our core values and our core principles. And it is not easy. You know, you think it's easy to get together with a bunch of people the size of this community and say, okay, can we agree on? Imagine that? Can you imagine that? Will you imagine that? And so, Kathy, come on up here. And so I want to talk a little bit about the core value, the diversity core value, and take us back in time. It seems like forever ago in some ways. When we on the board, and one of the tasks that I said yes to in terms of what I would do as being a consultant interim here, was to take a look at the core values that you've had over the years, and take a look at with the entire community, are we called to tweak any or change any or add any? And so what made the list was diversity. So I want to ask you, now, one thing I want to say about Kathy, she is a leader on steroids. She is stunning. You are awesome, and positive way of calling out steroids. Your leadership has been firm, it's been heartfelt, it's been helping guide all of us, and without thinking that we have to have the idea. And here we are, talking about diversity in a community that is primarily white. And here I'm a minister, I am white. And now we're diving into a topic that impacts strongly and deeply you and other people of color in our community, and I might say on the planet. And so, here we are. And we came up with this statement. And what do you have to share about this whole process for you?
Well, to me, the whole statement, I'm first of all thrilled that we as a community agreed to this statement, because it speaks, to me, it speaks volumes about where our core intent and heart is. And for us to say that we have a commitment to practicing anti-racism is huge. I think the initial expression I wanted to say, when you make a statement like that, you make people of color feel more welcome in this community, because you're taking a social stance on what your mindset is. Maybe we'll get to a point in time where that's not necessary. It'll be understood. But right now, in this environment, in the world that we live in, and the way and the direction that this country is going, to make that statement is huge. However, I think in order to really practice that statement, we have to really take a deep dive into what racism is, how it impacts you, how it impacts me. What are your thoughts and feelings about racism? Do you have racist thoughts? Do you have conscious or unconscious? Do you admit to them if you do? Or are you not even aware that you have racist thoughts? Yeah. If you're a person of color, have you experienced racism? And if you have, how did it make you feel? Did it frame your thinking about white people? Has it impacted your actions and reactions to white people? These are things that we have to explore and examine. And the only way to do that is to take a deep dive into our own thoughts and feelings. And I guess, the other thing I wanted to say is, if you're one of these people that says, oh my God, if we focus in on racism, then that just exacerbates it and makes it worse. And I'm here to tell you just the opposite is true. If you ignore racism, it allows racism to grow. If you do nothing about it, and by nothing I mean not even examining your own thoughts and feelings, if you do nothing about it, then it grows. We have a saying that's coming up, that the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for the good man to do nothing. And that's what happens when we ignore racism. There's another quote, I want to see that quote too, because I really think it speaks to the whole mindset of not putting your energy toward an ugliness in our society. and it has to do with spiritual bypassing. So a lot of people think they want to just bury their heads in the spiritual sand and just ignore racism, and maybe it'll just go away. But the reality is, spiritual bypassing often adopts a rationale based on using absolute truth to deny and disparage relative truth. And in this instance, racism is the relative truth that we have to deal with. And to do otherwise is to exacerbate the problem. So I don't know, maybe you want to come and join our class where we take a deeper dive into these topics and subjects, because it is important to be honest and truthful about your feelings. And it's a safe environment, so, come on and join us. It could even be fun.
Thank you. And you know what? I was wrestling with, and Edie and you also, Kathy, were talking around, well, let's see, our first class, we had the three of us and 3 other people attend. And I was first thinking, well, maybe the Zoom link was broken, and where was everybody? As I felt really sure that lots of people would want to gather more information around this. And then I thought, well, maybe they're satisfied with what they get online and so on. And then I wrestled with the part of me that's a recovering perfectaholic, the part of me that really wants everybody to be happy all the time as a codependent, and also the part of me that was sort of irritated, and more than that even, of where is everybody? And where I've landed is, everyone is exactly where they are, and that's okay, Steve. When are you going to practice what you preach? And it's okay. People are making their choices, and whatever that might be. And I also am very aware from conversations and my own intuition and what I'm reading and seeing in other Unity churches and so on. Unity of Gaithersburg is one of the few ministries called Unity that is doing what I say and what you said, Kathy, is a deep dive. Because a lot of us, get very uncomfortable with it, if we're honest. We really want to say, well, I don't want to go there. I'm doing fine. And so here we are. And so I say, if you're aware that you're uncomfortable, I say congratulations. That's a sign, one of the first signs of an awareness dive that you're called for. If you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable about this, fine. And does it mean you have to come to this class? No. What does it mean for you? And one of the things that we teach in Unity is that the board of trustees and the ministers and the speakers and people at Unity Village, the people that founded Unity, we don't have the last word on what is. The truth comes from you at any given moment in time. And everyone, all of our understanding of what truth is, continues to unfold if we're willing to do so. And so, what we're going to do now, and Edie, you want to get a mic and sort of be ready to join us on this? There's a method to some people might say madness, but there's a method to what we're doing now. When you came in, if you didn't have one of these, you should have received a single sheet, called Selected Quotes from an Open Letter to a Course in Miracles Community About Racism. And if you didn't have one...
If you didn't get one, raise your hand and the ushers will bring you one.
I think you all got one. Okay, and the full article is several pages, and it's online. And it's very, very powerful, not just for a Course in Miracles community. If you're not a Course in Miracles student, that's fine. But I think here what they're saying grabs us in so many ways. So as you read through this, you may have already seen something that really not only made you uncomfortable, you thought about running out of here screaming, or not. And I just want to read the first paragraph, that's number 1. And then what we're going to do is we have time for 4 people to raise their hand if they're willing and to make a comment on one of these paragraphs that grabs you in whatever way you want to say. And maybe it's an insight of a spiritual practice that you've been using that really helps you with that. Or maybe it's the opposite. What do I do? So I'm reading from A Course in Miracles lesson. You have one test as sure as God, by which to recognize if what you learned is true. If you are wholly free of fear of any kind, and if all those who meet or even think about of you share in your perfect peace, then you can be sure that you have learned God's lesson and not yours. Unless all this is true, there are dark lessons in your mind which hurt and hinder you and everyone around you. Oh my word. Zap City for me. So, at this point, what I'd like to do is have 4 people, preferably people that haven't yet shared publicly. We're doing some of this. And it's important that we hear from one another. And this may also inform us as to further information, what someone's point of view besides just myself or Kathy or Edie is really important. And then after this service at about 12:15-ish, there will be an open dialogue session for any of you that might want to come to. You can stay here in a sanctuary. It'll be about 45 minutes, and online there's a Zoom. It's in the newsletter. Zoom links in the newsletter. But anyways, if there's something here that you'd like to share, what the plan is that I would come by and have a mic, and I guess I need a mic. And listen to you and ask you to share your name, and then have you speak briefly, and then I may respond, or Kathy or Edie may respond also. So this has some hands up, and we only have time for 4 people, so it'll be first come, first seen by me. Who has a hand in the back there? Okay, I'll come back. You want to come up, get a mic, somebody? So, hi, and your name?
I'm Jill, and number 5 struck me. Rachel Cargill, a black anti-racism educator, says, anti-racism work is not self-improvement work for white people. It doesn't end when you feel better. It ends when black people are staying alive and they have their liberation.
And what's the impact of that for you?
Well, it takes me back to last year in the summer when we, saw so many protests about the killing of black people by police, and it really made everybody aware of this systemic racism in our country, and I think that it's not enough to just say I'm an anti-racist. It's to actively push back against that systemic racism.
Yeah. Thank you. And I relate to that. I want to ask Kathy or Edie to comment also with me. I'm aware that sometimes my measure of is there change is, do I feel better? And in this case, around racism and around people of color and black people, if the signs are continuing that there is things that are horrific, it's been, and to realize that racism has been endemic on the world over time, every single century there is something. And so if I'm believing that, well, if I feel better about it, then there must not be a problem. So that's one take. And Edie or Kathy, do you want to add to that?
So thank you for that comment, because I think it speaks a lot to what's going on right now. After all the protests last year around the George Floyd murder, Congress put forth a bill to deal with the Policing Act. And at the time, it had a lot of momentum because a lot of people were very upset and very excited and distraught about all of the things that had happened, culminating in the protests around George Floyd. But now that time has passed, people don't have the energy around it anymore. Maybe some people feel good now. That's gone and forgotten about. So now there's no bill. They cannot come to an agreement to hold police accountable for the way that they treat black people. Yet black people are still being abused, murdered, and put in jail by mass quantities. We have the highest incarceration rate of the whole world. And in Maryland, we have the highest incarceration rate of black men than the whole entire country. Right here in the state of Maryland. We beat out Mississippi.
Well,
So anyway.
yes. So, somebody else would like to share a comment on something you read in this article? Anybody else?
I just want to say something with
Well, excuse me, wait a second. People need to hear you. Got people online too.
As an immigrant that I am, I looks like white, but we have Indian, we have a lot of things in our body, in our blood. And at this moment, there is something really huge in the border with black people
Yes.
from Haiti.
Yes.
Yes.
And we need to be really prepared as a country what we are going to offer at this point.
Yes, yes. As a country, we do need to be prepared. Edie or Kathy, you want to respond to that?
Thank you for your comment. That's just like so emotional for me. I can't really talk about it.
Yes. You, Cynthia,
Yes.
the chaplain. Come on, stand up. You can stand up.
Okay, sorry. Number 2, I don't have my glasses on, but please remember how important it is to be radically honest with yourself and with the Holy Spirit about what is coming into your mind. We live, see, think, and especially the media, social media by far, that's always triggering, telling us who to hate, who to dislike. But it's only the humanness of who we are. The magnificent part about who we are with the different races is that God created us this way. So nobody talks about the beauty and the awesomeness and the love of God that created different pigmentation and why. And so I think what's happening on Congress has more to do with capitalism and power than it has to do with anything else. So as long as the people that has the power, they can control the money. Racism is as much about power and money as it is anything else, and I think that's a structure. And so I'll push back. It has to be against the systems that support racism, support this. This has to do with money. This is the United States, money. If you pull back the power of the money, you can crush racism.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. You want to? Edie or? Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. And I was like, Pan.
Hello, Mike. I'm reminded of the expression, a fish doesn't know it's wet. And I think that's a problem that a lot of white folks have, not just white people, but in particular, that we live in a racist society. And the only time we become aware of it is, number 9, the problem is that white people see racism as conscious hate when racism is bigger than that. We become aware of it when we see racist hate in action. And even that wasn't always the case when lynchings were around, that we didn't recognize that as racism. But we have to recognize it's much broader than active hate. It is systemic, it is deep, it's in our bones, we're raised with it, and we're all shaped by it. It's not just white people shaped by it, we're all shaped by it. And to Kathy's point, digging deep into how it's impacting us, our understanding, and our actions is really important for addressing it.
Thank you, thank you. We'll do 2 more. One more with Al back here. I saw your hand up a while back. And
just to follow up on Mike's, my name is Al, and also in number 9, you know, it's so true that it's so endemic and it's so ingrained in culture and society that it's been built up for hundreds and hundreds of years. And it seems that to try and conceive of addressing it as sort of this broad cultural sore is maybe too much, but if we can all do our individual part to chip it away bit by bit, that may be a more effective way to begin to break down the broad cultural and endemic disease, as opposed to trying to fix the world, just fix our part of it as we can day by day
Beautiful.
in the world that we live in.
That is awesome. You've heard this phrase before. Everyone can make a difference in the world. In fact, a small group of people, it's always been a small group of people that have made the major changes on the planet, in the world, always. And that's right now. We'll have one more. If anybody's called. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just
Kathy.
wanted to make one additional comment to what you were saying, Al. And that is, as we work on ourselves, please don't allow ourselves to be necessarily influenced by the media. You have to really scrutinize the information that the media gives you. And if I can just take a real short trip back into history, when slaves were allegedly freed, but in the 13th Amendment of the Constitution, they put that clause saying, except if you're convicted of a crime. And then all of these black codes in the South were made strictly for black people, that you're convicted of a crime if you don't have a job. How about that? You don't have a job. You just became freed from slavery, and you're not employed, so now you're a vagrant, so now you have to go back into slavery. You're talking too loud on the street. You're looking at a white woman the wrong way. Back into slavery you go. So when all of that happened, the press was documenting all of these black people going to jail. Oh my God, they must be a menace to society. And that press took that information all throughout the South, it went throughout the North, it went throughout the entire country, that black people are a menace to society. And that is why you have the high incarceration rates to this day. And when they publicize crimes committed by black people, by no means am I saying we don't commit crimes, but you get a lot more attention in the media to crimes committed by black people than you do by whites. I could go on and on, but anyway, I wanted to bring that to your attention.
Oh, and Kathy, stay silent for a moment. Normally at this point, there's a part of me that says, well, I'm watching the clock, and and so on and so on. There's a part of me that's really ready to get into some tears and some rage and all of that. And I'm not sure where all of you are right this moment around this topic. And Kathy, I'd like to have you bring us to a closure, or maybe lead us into something where we breathe and do something. You want to do this? Aren't you glad I didn't suggest this?
You get me when I'm all worked up and you ask me to calm down.
Well, it's
I guess that's why.
It's one of your many gifts.
Yeah, I need to calm down, I guess.
No, you don't calm down.
Yeah, okay. I'll recenter myself, and I will calm down, because I know that we all are spiritual beings. And on a spiritual level, we are whole and one. But I recognize the human experience that we're dealing with right now. And I do believe that our consciousness needs to stay focused on our own individual thoughts and feelings, as well as our collective thoughts and feelings. And with that awareness, I ask that we circle ourselves back to a state of peace of mind, that we relax and take a deep breath into the oneness that we all are, and that we find a way to unite our human experience with our spiritual experience. Thank you. And so it is.
So it is. Yeah. You got it. There's music, there's music.
Wow. Take it away, guys.
all know that people are the same wherever you go. There is good and bad in everyone. We learn to live, we learn to give each other what we need to survive. Together alive, ebony and ivory live together in perfect harmony. Side by side on my piano keyboard. Oh, why don't we? Ebony, ivory, living in perfect harmony. Ebony, ivory, living in perfect harmony. Ebony, ivory, living in perfect harmony. Ivory, living in perfect. We all know the people are the same wherever you go. There is good and bad in everyone. We learn to live, we learn to give each other what we need to survive. Together alive, ebony and ivory live together in perfect harmony. Side by side on my piano keyboard. Oh, why don't we? Side by side on my piano keyboard. Oh Lord, why don't we? Ebony, ivory, living in perfect harmony. Ebony, ivory, living in perfect harmony. Ebony, ivory, living in perfect harmony. Ebony, ivory, living in perfect harmony.
Thank you once again, and thank you again to our fearless leader, Kathy. Thank you so much. Wow. And everyone who was brave enough to stand up and share, thank you very, very much for just contributing to this, this cauldron of love and this cauldron of energy and intention, because we come here to lift each other up. And so thank you so much. So now it's time for to go over our tithes and offerings. If this is the time to open your heart and decide what is yours to give in support of this wonderful, wonderful community. So we have, because of COVID, we're not passing the bag around, but we do have our offering box in the back. Also, you can give online at our website, and you can text to give. We are in the 21st century, so you can also text to give, and there is the number. So thank you very, very, very much in advance for your generosity and support of this incredible community that has been here for 35, 40 years already. We're doing really well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's do our offering blessing together. Put all that love into your offering together. Divine love, I am, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am so grateful.
The ink is black, the page is white. Together we learn to read and write. The child is black, the child is white. The whole world looks upon the sight.
a beautiful sight. And now the child can understand that this is the law of the land. The world is black, the world is white. It turns by day and then by night. The child is black, the child is white. Together they grow to see the light, to see the light. And now a land can plainly see that we have a chance for liberty. The ink is black, the page is white. Together we learn to read and write. The child is black, the child is white. The whole world looks upon the sight, a beautiful sight. The world is black, the world is white. It turns by day and then by night. The child is black, the child is white. Together they grow to see the light. The world is black, the world is white. It turns by day and then by night. The child is black, the child is white. The whole world looks upon the sight, a beautiful sight.
I want to thank you for Jays. I mean, I notice that you even notice how engaged these guys are. I mean, you really are a gift. What a gift you are. So thank you so much, and thank you, AV people and our ushers and our chaplains. And we're about to be blessed by our youth as they're coming in right now. Let's get some excitement about our youth.
Such joy. Thank you for the music, and I'm glad we got to hear you singing out there. I wanted to come over so they could hear the special music at the end, because we enjoy it, right? Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, let's do our blessing. Say, I am the light of the world.
I'm a light in the world.
And I live as the light.
I live as a light.
Parker, Elijah, we're going to tell them, you are the light of the world. You live as the light. And you guys join us all together. We are the light of the world. We live as the light.
And what we know is that there's oneness, and so what we've just affirmed is like a healing wave rolling throughout the universe. And there is peace on earth, and we affirm that as we stand and do energetically a circle here, and let there be peace on earth. There shall be, there is. Come forth.
And let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with
invite everyone to stay with us after. For in about 10 minutes, we'll have a community dialogue session right here. Meanwhile, have a wonderful, loving, fantastic week. God bless you.
1, 2, 3, 4. The world is black, the world is white. It turns by day and then by night. The child is black, the child is white. Together they grow to see the light, to see the light.
And now the land can plainly see we'll have a chance at liberty.
The ink is black and the page is white. Together we learn to read and write. The child is black, the child is white. The whole world looks upon the sight, a beautiful sight.